If you improved 1% every day for a year, this would compound to being 37 times better than when you started. If you worsened 1% every day for a year, this would compound to being almost completely at zero. This is the power of atomic habits. In this video, I'll explain how to create good habits and break bad ones. You are your habits. This can either be a good or a bad thing depending on your habits. Before we change our habits, we need to understand how they work. Habits have 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. Let me give you an example. You're stuck on a project at work. Cue. You feel stuck and want to relieve frustration. Craving. You pull out your phone and check social media. Response. You satisfy your craving to feel relieved. Social media now becomes associated with being stalled at work. Let's move on to creating good habits. The 4 laws of behavior change are the key to making good habits. Those 4 laws of behavior change are: make it obvious, make it easy, make it attractive, and make it satisfying. The first law, make it obvious. Making our habits obvious and becoming aware of them significantly helps us change. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you will direct your life and you will call it fate. The first strategy is to make things obvious by using a strategy called a habit scorecard. To create your own, write down a list of your daily habits. This might be what it looks like. Once you have a full list, you need to determine whether each habit is a good, bad, or a neutral habit. If it's a good habit, write a plus near it. If it's a bad habit, write a minus near it. If it's a neutral habit, write an equal near it. If you're struggling to determine if a habit is positive, negative, or neutral, ask yourself these 2 questions. Does this help me get the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity? This simple exercise is extremely effective for raising awareness of our habits. The second strategy is to make something obvious by creating an implementation, intention, that sets a place and time for a habit. This sets a clear cue to start a habit. To do so, simply fill in this sentence: I will behavior at time in location. An example of this is: I will exercise for 1 hour at 5 p.m. in my bedroom. The next strategy is habit stacking. Habit stacking is doing a new habit after a habit you already do. The implementation intention for habit stacking is: after current habit, I will new habit. An example of this is: after I pour a cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. The end of one habit is the cue for another. The second law, make it attractive. To make a habit more attractive, we first need to understand what a craving is and how it works. Scientists can track the exact moment a craving occurs by measuring dopamine, a neurotransmitter. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. When dopamine is released, we get the motivation to act. James Clear says it is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. The first strategy to making a habit attractive is by using temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is when you bundle a habit you want to do with a habit you need to do. You're more likely to find a behavior attractive if you want to do one of your favorite things at the same time. The temptation bundling formula is: after habit I need, I will habit I want. You can also pair temptation bundling with habit stacking, which we previously talked about. The formula for temptation bundling plus habit stacking is: after current habit, I will habit I need. After habit I need, I will habit I want. An example of this is: after I get my morning coffee, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened to me yesterday. After I say one thing I'm grateful for, I will read the news. Social norms can also affect habits. This is because humans want to fit in, bond with others, and earn the respect of our peers. We often find ourselves imitating habits of 3 particular groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. To avoid this, join a culture where 1, your desired behavior is the normal behavior, and 2, you already have something in common with the group. The third law, make it easy. To make a habit easy, we need to reduce friction associated with the habit. When I say reduce friction, I'm talking about removing the obstacles that are in the way of us doing the habit. One strategy to reducing the friction is by priming the environment. Priming the environment is by setting up the room in a way that makes doing a specific habit easier. For example, if you want to exercise, set out your gym clothes, shoes, gym bag, and water ahead of time. This makes it easier to exercise. Another effective habit building strategy is the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Even when we know that we should start small, it's very easy to start too big. This is where the 2-minute rule comes in. The idea is to start with small habits and slowly build up. You should start from very easy and work up to very hard. For instance, running a marathon is very hard. Running a 5K is hard. Walking 10,000 steps is moderately difficult. Walking 10 minutes is easy. And putting on your running shoes is very easy. It may sound weird, but the point of starting small is part of mastering the hardest part of habit building, showing up. The fourth law, make it satisfying. A reason we have bad habits is because they give us satisfaction in the short term, but not the long term. This is called instant gratification. Habits that dissatisfy us in the short term and benefit us in the long term are called delayed gratification. The best way to make habits more satisfying is by adding a little bit of immediate pleasure at the end of the habit. In the beginning, when you aren't seeing immediate progress, an immediate reward is needed for the habit to feel worthwhile. Immediate rewards are tied to reinforcement. Immediate reinforcement can help us change when dealing with habits of avoidance. It can be hard to feel satisfied with avoiding something because no action is taking place. One solution is to make avoidance invisible. Open the savings account and name it something you want. Maybe a new pair of shoes. When you pass on a purchase, transfer the same amount of money into the account. Pass on a month of Netflix? Transfer $10. Skip your morning latte? Transfer $5. Next, let's talk about how to keep on track with our habits. The best and most simple way to do this is by a habit tracker. I suggest you download an app or make a calendar and tick it for every time you complete a habit. However, tracking habits can be hard because it adds another task on top of doing the habit. We can make habit tracking easier by recording it immediately after every habit. The habit stacking and habit tracking formula is, after current habit, I will track my habit. An example of this is after I hang up the phone from a sales call, I will move one paperclip over. Now, we'll talk about how to quickly recover from when your bad habits break down. No matter how consistent you are with your habits, it is inevitable that life will interrupt you at some point. Perfection is not possible. Whenever this happens, remind yourself of a simple rule: never miss twice. That is what you need to know about the 4 laws of behavior change. But what about breaking bad habits? Bad habits can be broken by doing the opposite of the 4 laws. Make bad habits invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. The opposite of the first law. To make something invisible is simple. Remove all cues of bad habits from your environment. For example, when studying, leave your phone in another room. The opposite of the second law. Make it unattractive. The way to make a habit unattractive is also very simple. Reframe your mindset by highlighting the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. The opposite of the third law, make it difficult. We can do this by increasing friction, the number of steps between you and your bad habits. For example, after you use the TV, unplug it and leave the remote in another room. Another strategy to make bad habits difficult is by using a commitment device. A commitment device is a one-time action that locks in good habits. For example, cutting cable service. The opposite of the fourth law, make it unsatisfying. There are 2 strategies to making a habit unsatisfying. The first one is to get an accountability partner. An accountability partner watches your behavior. There may also be a consequence like giving them $10 every time you do a specific habit. This is effective because you don't want to lose the respect of your accountability partner, so you'll be more motivated to do good habits and avoid bad ones. You can also make a habit contract. Habit contract is a contract that you write that has consequences. If you don't do a certain habit or if you do a certain bad one. This book has changed my life, and I'm not exaggerating. So, if you'd like to buy it yourself, I'll put an Amazon affiliate link in the description. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more self-improvement content.